What's up, guys? Gonna do a quick video here. I'm gonna kind of splice it all together, but I'm gonna talk about making a bow drill out of a simple piece of pine like this, just using the pocket skin. All right, guys, first thing we need to do is we need to find a piece of dry pine. This was dead standing, so I'm quite sure it's gonna be a good piece to work with. Now, I want to select a piece that's too large because, again, I'm using my pocket skinner. I don't want to do a ton of work here. So I'm going to choose the straightest section of this, but also the thinnest section to be my spindle, right? Because I need 3 pieces. I need the spindle, the fireboard, and the socket. So I generally go about 7 inches, and I'm going to start carving down with the pocket skinner, and I'm just going to kind of beaver chew all the way around this piece here. Digging in. And what this is going to do by cutting away like this, I'm already establishing that sharp point I need for the end of the actual stick itself. All right, so once I've chewed that all the way around, I can go ahead and break that, and we're good to go. All right, now I'm going to shape this down a little bit because we're going to build our fireboard out of this end. All right, guys, got that spindle end cleaned up with the pocket skinner. One end very sharp like a pencil, other end moderately sharp here. I need this to fit into the divot of my fireboard to get my burn in. This end here, went ahead and beaver chewed this around, pop that out. Now we're gonna split that using the mallet and the pocket skinner. I'm gonna split this into 2 pieces. One's gonna become the fireboard, the other one's gonna become the socket. There are 2 pieces here. The thinner one here I'm going to use as the fireboard, and the thicker one up top I'm going to use as the socket. All right, guys, got them split down. Here's the fireboard. Since I have this flat base here, I'm going to go ahead and skin off the top and make that flat as well. Now, how wide this is here needs to capture how wide my spindle is, all right? Or else I'm not going to have enough room to cut my channel for the coal to dump out. So I need to skin this out a little bit more, make it just a tad bit thinner so I can maximize the wood on the fireboard here. So let me do that. Okay, guys, we went ahead and got that spindle neck down here, all right? So that way the diameter of that spindle isn't gonna eat up the entire fireboard, so we still have room to cut our channel for our coal to coalesce, all right? So I'm just gonna make a small box in this, in the fireboard. I'm just gonna make a small box with my knife here. And I do a box like that. So then I just put my knife in there and pop that piece of wood out, and you get a nice little hole. And I'm gonna do that right in the center. All right, I'm gonna go ahead on my socket piece, and I'm gonna go ahead and just bore in just a little hole here, just enough for to get some purchase up here as the for the top of the spindle into the socket. Let me get this set up, and then we'll do our burn in. Hey guys, putting the spindle into the bow, here's kind of a little pro tip I like to do, and this kind of came about using primitive strings. If you go ahead and use kind of a green stick or a more flexible piece of wood here, and you put pressure down on that, creating slack in whatever cordage you're using, then put your spindle in, and then as you let up, your spindle will be nice and tight in there. You'll find you'll break far fewer primitive strings. So just a little pro tip that I do. All right, guys, we got our spindle all in there. I'm gonna place this down in the fireboard. I'm gonna go ahead and cap it with my socket. And we'll go ahead and get this spinning. And generally, using wood for your socket, you're gonna need to resharpen, reestablish a new hole, probably 2 to 3 times, all right, to get your coal, depending on how it's running. All right, you see my smoke there? And we're about done our burn in. Nice burn in there. So I burnt in, and you can see where we're gonna have to touch that end up. So I'll keep the burn end off the ground there. There's our burn in our board. There's our socket. What is that reminiscent of? Those look about the same, don't they? So this is another trick I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about, which was after you do your bow drill here on your base, this fireboard gets burned all the way through. To establish another hole, we have to do another burn in. How about if we just took our socket, cut a notch, flip-flopped, use our board as a socket, socket as our board, ran another fire. Boom. Use of our materials, less work, right? We'll go ahead and cut this notch, be right back. All right, guys, so kind of as it was meant to happen, we blew our shoulder out here, which can happen, obviously. All right, we went ahead and resharpened this. We've flip-flopped these now. My socket has become my board. You see I've cut that notch on that pre-burn-in that was default happening while it was using it as a socket. So now I've put a small hole here in my fireboard to use as my socket. We're just gonna flip-flop these and go ahead and get back to business. Again, go ahead and place our spindle in. Right on top, inside the notch, and we go to work. I think we got a coal, and we do. So you see we went ahead and used our socket as our fireboard. And what have we created there? Another burn-in on the original fireboard by using it as a socket. So as you can see, there's all our parts and pieces. You can see the pocket skinner, our coal burning. Let's go ahead and get that blown up to fire, finish this thing off. I'm gonna take my tinder bundle. I want it very, very tight. Very tight. Go ahead and put that thumb hole in there, creating that good bird's nest, got good surface area for that heat source to transfer. I'm gonna come down, I'm gonna scoop up the coal, as you can see, on the pocket skinner there. I'm gonna drop her in. I'm gonna close it up ever so slightly. Start that transfer of energy. And we got our fire. So let's go ahead and put that out. All right, got our fire put out. Let's very quickly revisit what we talked about here. Make sure your spindle isn't too large when you split your wood for your fireboard, all right? So you still have room to cut your notch. Your socket becomes your fireboard, all right? Because you're doing pre-burn-ins as you assemble these together between on either side of your spindle, right? You're doing burn-ins while you're creating fire, so double use here, all right? And third, when we're placing our spindle inside our bow, we're applying that downward pressure, creating that slack, putting that in, and then coming up and starting our fire. So, hope these tips help. Good luck, get out there, start some fires off the landscape. Have a good one.